Andy, it's almost 1 a.m.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. I'm your host Andy, joined today by Ronnie, old man Ronnie up in Maine with the Skeeters.
Cheers.
And my esteemed colleague Ben down San Diego way.
Howdy.
Yep. So today we're discussing Cern.
Yeah, all the mosquitoes I'm getting eaten alive by every day are mosquitoes that came out of that portal at Cern.
Those mosquitoes don't speak perfect English and are having conversations with
I'm glowing in the dark at this point.
Right? Fucking yeah, you know something else that probably came out of that portal?
That damn Sasquatch.
Yep. Hey, I'll bet you that scientist, I'll bet you if there was a female scientist there, she kind of sounded like one of the sound bites you got.
What you talking about, Willis?
You totally spaced it.
Which soundbite?
Your head.
Female scientist addressing the Sasquatch.
Oh.
Can't figure it out.
Oh yeah, she came out of the portal and said,
You're hairy like animals.
Yep.
"Yep." So anyway, here we are.
I've also heard what came out of the portal looks kind of like what my background is now. So
Yeah, I saw that guy at the gas station yesterday, the Arco.
was he pumping your gas and
Like,
laughing at the price he was charging you for it?
Or was he pumping your ass?
Probably both.
You cannot feed the car and your family.
Yep. You gotta bend over and take that big fucking green weenie.
Yep. If you want gas in this country anymore, it can't just come out of your pocket. It's got to come out of your butthole too.
Yeah, it's like that old saying goes: ass, grass, or ass. Or wait, was it cash, grass, or ass, or some shit like that?
Yeah, something along those lines.
No.
I think Martin Van Buren said that once.
Ain't nothing free. If you want to live with me, you got to pay in one of these three ways.
Shit on my dick.
Blood on my blade or shit on my dick.
That's a hell of an option.
So,
That ain't too far off course. You know the demons said it when they walked through the portal.
So CERN's main function is to provide the particle accelerators and other infrastructure needed for high energy physics research. As a result, numerous experiments have been conducted at CERN through international collaborations. CERN is the site of the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest and highest energy particle collider. The main site at, Mayrin, hosts a large computing facility, which is primarily used to store and analyze data from experiments, as well as simulate events.
You said analyze.
Researchers need remote access to these facilities, so the lab has historically been a major wide area network hub. CERN is also the birthplace of the World Wide Web.
Andy said analyze.
Well, you know, I would disagree with that. The World Wide Web was initially a DARPA project that ended up in the public sector, but not by accident. It ended up in the public sector by as a means to monitor, track, and control us. So.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, I don't think any of us like that.
I can totally believe that, and obviously it's true, so it's working.
Yep. So anyway, as far as I know, they're firing CERN up tomorrow. And it's supposed to be fired up between tomorrow and July 5th.
Yeah.
And they are fucking colliding particles together with 2 times the power they had previously used. Now, previously, it's come to my attention that they have opened portals to God knows where, and things have been coming through, and now they don't know how to close the portal.
And so their answer is to turn up the power and hit it again.
Hey,
We need to nuke them, and we need to nuke them now.
when in doubt, send it.
Yep.
Full send. You just get a
Need
full
to-
send.
Need to send a ICBM right through the portal with a Jolly Roger flying on it.
Well, I have a feeling that sometime in the next little while, shortly after this experiment is conducted, there's going to be somebody giving this speech.
Good morning. Good morning.
Today is the 4th of July. And you'll once again be fighting for our freedom.
I tell you what, that's like a forever top 10 greatest movie speech sort of thing.
Yeah, that fucking speech was motivating as fuck.
Yeah. For as simple and short as it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people became like, I know I became familiar with CERN after the Dan Brown novel Angels and Demons was made into a movie with Tom Hanks and some like banging Israeli actress. I can't think of her name right now. And for what it's worth, it was actually a really good film, and it featured CERN obviously not opening up any portals to another dimension, but it was still about the Large Hadron Collider creating the quote-unquote God particle. And later the God particle was used for basically domestic terrorism for weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, yeah? I ain't shitting you. So, the Large Hadron Collider is the world's largest high-energy particle collider. It was built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, between 1998 and 2008 in collaboration with over 10,000 scientists and hundreds of universities and laboratories, as well as more than 100 countries. It lies in a tunnel 27 kilometers or 17 miles in circumference, and as deep as 175 meters or 574 feet beneath the France-Switzerland border near Geneva. The first collisions were achieved in 2010 at an energy of 3.5 tera electron volts per beam, about 4 times the previous world record.
So
After-
3.5 trillion volts.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So after upgrades, it reached 6.5 trillion volts per beam. So 13 trillion total collision energy, and the present world record. At the end of 2018, it was shut down for 3 years for further upgrades. So it's come to my attention that what they're doing now is 13 trillion volts when they do this experiment they're doing tomorrow. 13.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like it's 12 or 13. But that's fucking ridiculous. I don't understand. What more information are they going to get by turning the power up?
Well, how are they going to get all that power? They shut all the power plants down and they're trying to run off fucking solar panels. They're going to get that from solar panels.
Yeah, not unless they got all of fucking Europe covered in
Yeah,
them.
every square inch of it covered. Maybe.
Either that, or they figured out a way to tap into the Earth's nuclear reactor at the core. Have you heard about that, Ronnie? There's some people right now that are thinking that the Earth has a little star in the middle. It's not a molten massive rock. It's actually a fusion, like a fusion reactor at the center of the Earth.
I've heard of like geothermal power generation, but nothing like that.
No, what I mean is not power generation. What I mean is there's a theory going around that at the center of the Earth, it's not like liquid hot fucking. It's not like a liquid hot iron core like we thought, iron and nickel like we thought before. That makes our magnetic field. It's a
big ball of uranium.
no, it's a big fucking fusion reactor. It's like a little star at the middle of the Earth. That's a theory that's going around now.
I'd have to see that backed up with some hard evidence.
Hey, I mean, have
you
you been listening to Red Pill Project, Ronnie? Because he's had this guy on twice now.
Yeah, I have, but the kind of energy and heat that you're talking about there would consume the entire planet. I mean, I don't see how it holds an equilibrium there.
Well, it depends on what material is surrounding it. I mean, immediately surrounding it.
Well, we'll put it this way. If the sun started to die right now and expanded like they think it's going to and engulf the entire inner solar system, the sun would devour the Earth and it would vaporize it. So if there's a mini sun in the center of the Earth, it stands to reason that the same concept applies.
Possibility. A lot of people are, I mean, the same guy was basically saying that Mars used to have the same sort of system, but for some reason it went out. And now it's a cold fucking barren wasteland.
Yep.
So I don't know. Who knows?
It can happen either way.
I mean, you could always just believe NASA, aka never a straight answer.
Yeah, they don't give anyone a straight answer ever.
But anyway, you know.
The sea is foamy. You have wandered playoff boards.
Yep.
So anyway, Cern has been they've been doing some pretty interesting experiments, especially in like 2012 when they apparently ended the world and we were all transferred into another dimension where the world didn't end.
Yeah, and now they're saying, "Hey, let's do it again, but this time,
yeah, maybe we'll destroy all the dimensions
power
this
way.
time.
Yeah, let's do it the max power way."
Yeah, maybe we'll destroy all the dimensions this time.
Right? You know, I think if they asked some of them, they'd probably sound like that Alex Jones clip. You like, I'm kind of retarded. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
telling you, there's another one. There's another podcast out there. I don't know if anyone's ever listened to them. Conspiracy Theories and Unpopular Culture. Isaac Weishaupt. But he's talked about CERN in the past, and I believe on that episode he's like, he says it all the time, but he's like, yeah, he's like, the nerds are gonna kill us, man. They're gonna kill us all.
Well, look, it was the nerds who invented Skynet, and
Yeah.
people can say, but that's just a movie. But regardless, it's still these. Because for the most part, people in that field of study are like socially awkward, maybe autistic or Asperger's or something else. Like it's just, they're not normal, well-adjusted people. Many of them are not.
Hitler was
bury themselves in this specialized, highly theoretical field, and maybe they even, I'm sure most of them are amoral at the very least, and I probably have a god complex.
Well, it's a great quote from Jurassic Park. He's like, scientists were so caught up in whether or not they could, they'd never stop to think about whether or not they should.
And like at some point, I don't know if it's going to generate like a farmers with pitchforks at a Dr. Frankenstein's castle sort of deal. But
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about a machine that's using 12. I mean, in this newest experiment starting tomorrow, they're firing particles at each other, like in this collider, using 12 trillion tera electron volts, like 12 trillion volts of energy.
I just don't even know. Like I can't even process that.
That's probably more energy than the world uses in a year, the entire planet. And they're doing it in 2 days.
I just can't even like process how you harness that, how you utilize it. Like that's just an insane sounding thing to me.
I'm an electrician and I can't fathom that amount of energy.
There we go.
Insane. I mean,
So
actually, that's not really the energy. Like, volts is a measure of electrical potential. It's really not. It's not the energy. It's amps. Amperage is the flow of electricity and electrons.
Okay.
Yeah, but
volts is a measure of electrical potential, the potential to conduct. So
if you had though, that much energy, I mean, conceivably, if you were creating some kind of a reaction with that much energy, that reaction could bleed over into other dimensions, right? Or other realities or other, I don't know, other existences, I guess.
Oh, it absolutely could. Using an amount of energy like that, it would probably radiate out into space and time, and other civilizations millions of light years away may be able to detect that burst of energy.
Yeah, that's probably a higher burst of energy than we detect from like those neutron stars and shit that send out random bursts of radio signals and radiation or whatever.
Oh no, I'm sure those are much higher.
Well, who knows? But I mean, it's going to be kind of strange when some extraterrestrial civilization picks it up and detect that it's coming from a planet.
Yeah.
I mean, are we trying to fucking get ourselves killed? I don't understand this.
Again, I think a lot of the people in that field of study are at the very best, they're amoral, meaning they're not good, but they're not bad. They exist. And second of all, I think many of them are maybe they're mad at humanity because most of them are probably in the climate cult, not to go too far off, but I think some of them it's ideological because maybe they're trying to exterminate humans through some experiment. Like I think of obviously 12 Angry Monkeys, or was it Angry Monkeys or 12 Angry Monkeys? I forget, but with Bruce Willis. But you had that one rogue doctor or medical assistant who took a toxin, a virus, and spread it all around the world just to get revenge. I mean, so I think that's what some of these people are.
Or you can be, like a billionaire like Elon Musk and dumping billions of dollars a year into a company called SpaceX, trying to get humans off this planet and onto another one.
That's true. So, make your, self-fulfilling prophecy right there, right? I mean, make it happen.
But I think Elon Musk is in a hurry to do that because I think he knows something or has seen something that the rest of us doesn't know.
No, I agree with that. I was actually going there that he knows something's going to go down here. And, if humans are not somewhere other than here, the human race is gone. Period.
Mhm.
And maybe that's where all those trillions are being sent to, like space stations and exploratory, space exploratory equipment.
Yeah.
Well, you have $30,000 toilet seats or whatever.
No, that's why we're going to Mars, and we're going to try to terraform it and make Mars livable again. There's actually a theory out there that talks about how humans may have evolved on Mars and came here. And the knowledge of us leaving Mars and coming here, that migration, the knowledge of that was lost over, hundreds of thousands of years.
Well,
There's actually some theories about that.
yeah, but I mean, it was probably much earlier than that, considering we have human footprints millions and millions of years old in the same fucking rock layer as dinosaur footprints.
Right.
So,
You know what I'm saying, though?
yeah,
There's a theory out there that we evolved on Mars. And I think it's he's a doctor. Ellis Silver wrote a book outlining like human physiology and the effects that a lifetime on this planet has on the human body, and different evolutionary traits that humans have that no other animal on the planet has, that creates difficulties for us to live comfortably on this planet that no other animal on this planet has, because all the animals that are from this planet that evolved here developed ways around or to cope with certain things like the intense sunlight here, where humans are very sensitive to sunlight, their skin, they're prone to sunburns, so on and so forth. And no other animal on the planet has that problem. Human eyes are very sensitive to the sunlight. The sun hurts the eyes. No other animal on the planet has that problem, and it goes on and on.
Interesting.
It also humans as they get older, that they're prone to back problems, and it could have to do with the added gravitational effects of a larger planet where Mars is smaller. So he theorizes that humans evolved on a planet with dimmer sunlight and not quite so massive, so the gravitational pull, we evolved physiologically to cope with that gravity, not this gravity.
yeah, and which also explains, I don't know if you probably brought this up here a minute ago, but it also explains why humans are the only species on the planet that have trouble in sunlight with their eyes. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I did
it's too
mention
bright
that.
for their eyes. There's no other species on this planet that has an issue with sunlight as far as visually.
That's
Well, and
wild.
sunburn too.
Yep.
No other animal is prone to sunburn like we are.
Well, it's kind of interesting you say that, because I think about like people having like almost genetic memory in a sense. Like maybe someone has a genetic connection to a place like, say, Scotland, for example, because hundreds of years ago their ancestors came from Scotland and they just feel connected to it, even though they maybe never been there, or maybe they didn't even know it until they did like a DNA ancestry thing and found out, oh, I'm like 10% this or 20% that.
Hey,
So
maybe Bigfoot is the indigenous bipedal creature on this planet, and we're just the invaders.
Maybe.
So hundreds of millions of years ago, we genocided Bigfoot.
Quite possible.
Yeah, and the Neanderthals.
Well, wouldn't they be just part of that?
Maybe
Well,
the Neanderthal just moved to South Florida and got called the skunk ape after that.
No, all I'm saying is name another species on this planet that has an evolutionary predecessor that they lived along side by side with each other, that species and its predecessor at the same time.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't happen because one species evolves into another.
Yeah,
so
but
if you have,
you don't know that though, because I don't think science has really studied that as much as they have human ancestors.
It
I
would
thought
be
I
it would be
heard.
glaringly obvious in the fossil record because you'd find the bones like you do with humans. You find
Right.
human bones right
Right.
alongside.
But what I'm saying is you can't really say that all right, chickens didn't come from nowhere. Like they came from something else, right?
I didn't say they didn't come from nowhere.
yeah, okay, but chickens existed before their ancestors were extinct. They had to have. Otherwise, where'd they come from? The ancestors
No,
didn't
their
go extinct when chickens
ancestors
spawned from the
evolved,
dirt.
Andy. Their ancestors evolved into chickens. What we know as
I
chickens
know, but it
now.
didn't happen overnight in 1 or 2
No,
generations. This is over hundreds of generations.
Andy, do you know how evolution works?
Yeah, I just said it happened over
No,
hundreds and thousands
Andy,
of generations.
yeah. So it's very subtle changes over time. The species changes. So the species from 100,000 years ago, you shouldn't find them in the same layer as modern species. They should be separated by time. In humans, it's not. In every other animal species, it is.
Yeah,
Look, I remember it was either National Geographic or History Channel had a documentary years ago where they talked about how humans hunted down and killed the last Neanderthals, probably somewhere in the Balkans.
No, exactly. And the Neanderthals are supposedly an evolutionary predecessor to us. So how is that possible if the Neanderthals evolved into us through subtle evolutionary change over time? How did Neanderthal live next to us, anatomical modern day humans living right next to Neanderthals and humans hunting Neanderthals to extinction? It doesn't work through evolutionary theory. It doesn't work.
No, they should have just, I mean, I'm sure they were probably mostly just hunted down for pegging purposes.
Oh, they probably were. They clubbed them and dragged them back to the cave and went, oh.
Yep. Sounded something like this.
I mean, humans are just brutal bastards, so it was probably like Homo sapiens. Wait, we're Homo sapiens, right? Or are we erect? No, we're not
Homo
erect.
sapiens sapien.
That's right. So Homo sapiens sapien was probably just getting all uppity.
Why don't we just
We're way better than these ugly ass MOs.
why don't we just say Homo sapiens squared?
Right?
I like that because it sounds less G.
Sounds a little, yeah, it sounds a little gay, but
I mean, it's better than Homo erectus.
yeah, well.
Anyway, how did we get from Cern to this? I don't.
Because maybe this portal, which we should talk about now, would lead to us exploring those dimensions, if that's the case.
Well, it got to this because I was talking about Elon Musk trying to get off the planet.
Well, what's the theory? Is it like a portal to just another plane of existence, or is it like a demonic portal? Like, what's the theory?
Well, the theory is spiritual energies are coming through. Not physical beings, but spiritual energies.
And they're not all good.
Nope.
Okay, because I was kind of having an image of like Man in the High Castle, where, sorry, spoiler alert, but Man in the High Castle, the Nazis and, in this show were actively opening portals to other dimensions, but other planes of existence for the purpose of waging what would you call it? Well, warfare on multiple planes of existence. So interstellar conquest. So that was the image I was having, but you're saying it's spiritual energies?
Yeah, these aren't physical beings coming through. These are energies.
Yeah, from a religious frame of mind, these would be demonic energies.
Yep.
Coming through.
At the very basic, it's like you break it down to like even down to a Ouija board, which I fear those things, not for the board itself. I mean, the board by itself is just a compressed cardboard or some other kind of composite material. By itself, it's meaningless, but it's what the people who misuse it, and eventually, spirits can attach to it, but you still open a portal when you engage in that activity. It's like seances. Because like, let's say someone goes to a seance and they want to talk to their, Grandma Rita or whatever, their Uncle Bill, and it's like, hey, Uncle Bill, I miss you. But so you call on the name of Uncle Bill, the spirit of Uncle Bill, but there's probably like 100 million souls out there with the name Bill, and you don't know who the hell you just invited to that seance. Like,
Yeah, all of a sudden this voice comes through. It's all like,
The Lord tells me he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're.
Yeah,
well,
pretty much.
exactly, because you don't, because I was just listening to someone the other night. It's this guy from Rhode Island who used to know Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're the paranormal, the New England paranormal investigators who were made, if you saw The Conjuring, you know who we're talking about. So
Yep.
He was talking about the fact that a lot of times demons will pretend to be like children, or like let's say a demon inhabiting your house will like have a childish voice, or it will be sorrowful. It will try to gain your sympathy.
Yep.
And then
it comes through as something non-threatening.
exactly.
Ed was a demonologist, and Lorraine was a psychic and kind of demonologist too. But her claim to fame is more her psychic abilities.
Right. So I mean, the point being is that they can pretend to be something they're not, and then when you give it permission, because these things need your permission to like enter your. It's kind of like where the vampire thing comes from. That's actually true. Because demons.
So when you sit at a Ouija board and put that energy out there, inviting something in, there's the permission.
So at the very basic level, that's what that is. So it sounds like if that's what you're saying they're doing in CERN, then that's on like steroids.
Yeah, and on the Ouija board topic too, you're calling Uncle Bill, as you put it, and you're calling to talk to Uncle Bill. What's coming through, it most likely isn't even named Bill, and it's just pretending to be Uncle Bill.
Yeah, because it's just waiting for you to give it permission, like to dialogue with it, and then basically, again, because that's where the whole vampire thing comes from. Like, a vampire can't enter your house until you allow it to. That's actually the demon thing. And then what it does next is unpredictable. Maybe it starts tormenting you as a poltergeist, or it just starts infesting your mind with negative or angry energies and thoughts. I mean, it varies. So whatever these assholes did in 2012, maybe that's why the world's destabilized today.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've already had to have several long conversations with my child about Ouija boards because she's expressed an interest in using one. And I said, nope, absolutely not. And I told her everything. I told her brutally honest, everything, why she should never be anywhere in the vicinity of one of those things, especially when it's being used.
Like, the best thing you can do for it is like torch it.
No, not after they've opened the portal, because once you've used it and you open that door, if you didn't close it properly, if you burn it, you can't close the door. It's over.
How do you close that?
You have to close out the Ouija board session before you finish.
Meaning
No,
you gotta let.
No, what I'm saying is, like, let's say I happen upon a group of people doing a Ouija board. I wasn't involved in it. I reject it. Can I destroy it?
No, you can't close it. Only the people involved in the session can close it.
Okay. So
if you burn the Ouija board, and the session wasn't closed, the entities that came through are going to stay on this side, and they'll never leave the people that they were in contact with. It's like a possession. It's an attachment.
Damn.
And once you burn the board, the attachment, it'll find something else to attach to, which will probably be the nearest person. And then that person is going to start to experience all kinds of supernatural activity that is going to get worse, and they'll feed off their fears and eventually probably lead to a suicide or something worse.
Jesus. Actually, because that's one thing this guy was saying. Because I thought it was a pretty good discussion. Because the host was like, "Why are they doing this? Why would they, for example, attach themselves to someone's like, they want to feel some carnal pleasure, like maybe sex, maybe food, like they just want maybe they're disembodied spirits who are looking for that joy of feeling again, that pleasure. So it could be that simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of these energies, they feed off of negative energy. So the more fear they can make you feel, they feed off that. The more energy they get, the more power they get, and then they'll get worse. And the more scared and fearful you get, the worse they will get.
So I mean, this Cern thing happened originally in 2012. We're coming on the 10th anniversary. Like, what are people? So, do we have anything like on it? Like anyone discussing the theory of the Cern portal? Who's been saying that it's like specifically been a spiritual portal?
I've just read some stories. I can't even verify if they're true. It's just
I mean, because
stuff
I mean,
I've
I
heard.
could believe it. I've only heard of people opening spiritual portals through like seances, for example, not through actual physical mechanisms like
Right.
like technology. So this would be like, I mean, the way the world's like gone completely, bat crap crazy since 2012. I can actually believe that's true. I'm just curious, like, because again, I've never heard of like equipment being used to open a portal yet, unless it was purely accidental.
Right.
Well, I'm sure it probably was accidental. They weren't intending to open a portal. But now that it's open, they don't know how to close it.
Like,
and now they're having vast orgies with negative energies coming through the portal.
Yeah.
it's like Peter Venkman, from
Speak the name of the Oracle of Napster. Back in the olden days, we had to collect our music library via cassettes and CDs. Records had gone out of style, but for some reason they've come back today. And these would be very easily damaged through normal use, making your library inaccessible forever. And then came Napster, this beautiful place for weary musical travelers to venture, to collect, barter, and trade other music libraries. Yet, it was shrouded because it was considered forbidden. I too fell victim to this forbiddenness. I was a collector of the Metallica. I had all of the CDs and tapes, and yet I still was banned permanently for downloading such musics, which I only wanted a permanent archive, which could not be destroyed through normal use. Without the Napster, Spotify, Apple Music would not exist. It was the beginning.
It was.
Without the Napster.
He's like,
I remember Napster.
He's like, you speak the name of the Oracle. The
Napster and LimeWire.
Oh man. Yeah, Napster was first though, by like 5 years.
Yeah, and then
late 90s.
And then LimeWire came out and started giving everybody computer viruses.
No. It was Napster first, then it was Morpheus, then it was LimeWire.
I forgot about Morpheus.
You forgot about Morpheus?
Yep.
Wait, was that before or after Matrix?
After. It was after the Matrix.
I'm
sure they named it after Morpheus from the Matrix, though. Yeah, and then there was LimeWire for a while, and BitTorrent, and then after that, all these subscription platforms started, and the rest is history.
Yep.
All right. So anything more on this Cern portal?
I like that one with where he's talking about his dad giving him the atlas and having him navigate, and his dad's His dad's telling him, screaming profanities at him to get them where they need to go, and then eventually have to pull over and take the Atlas.
Right? Oh my god.
That one's hilarious.
Yeah, CERN. I don't know, man. There's some validity though to the conspiracy theory because like we were saying earlier, that amount of energy,
Let me
that amount of energy expended in an instant, it's got to have some consequences.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
on a subatomic level. So, I mean, I don't know. You have to, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a nuclear physicist. I have a very limited knowledge of these things.
well, here's something from something called AMG. CERN, Gateway to Hell. Scientists in the elite try to hide what really happened at CERN. So, demonic entities, extra dimensions. So I'll read what this person named Medea Greer said. Medea Greer, independent publisher, is now on Telegram at this location, basically spreading support about this, spreading news about this situation. So they talk about the connection of the Rockefeller dynasty to CERN. CERN is preparing for a major announcement, which we already know about because this was written on June 6th. So I guess the announcement hadn't been made on June 6th because now we know it's July 5th where they're going to do this 10th anniversary test. That they have discovered something inside the collisions happening at the Large Hadron Collider. They have warned extensively about CERN and believe that the Illuminati is celebrating the opening of the fifth dimension, one beyond space and time. CERN also invented the internet, a matrix on, I know there was some dispute there. A matrix system that now covers the Earth. The internet now has taken over everything about life. Everything is wired. The last thing that isn't wired is the human body. Implantable devices. It's talking about implantable devices. Mark of the beast. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the part where it's talking about. Here we go. Did CERN create a black hole inside Earth? It's saying a city was swallowed, millions of sinkholes opened, ocean level drops. CERN is opening portals into other dimensions, possibly even hell. Everything you are about to see is real. CERN is attacking the planet by trying to bring into reality the existence of demons. I mean, demons already exist, so and possibly even the devil, Satan himself, smashing particles at the speed of light or nearer. And this person's theory is attacking God himself as we know it. Without light, there would be no life, Earth or the moon, possibly. The Large Hadron Collider facility on the Franco-Swiss border is changing weather patterns and even possibly attracting meteors with the huge magnetic force it pulls out. CERN has many backers and many objectors, but the most important is CERN itself. Only it can address the worries of everyday people, and they choose not to. So I'm trying to see where they're, and apparently maybe there were allegedly large, bizarre cloud formations over the CERN facility. I'm trying to see where they're talking about. So they actually jumped to a variety of various topics. I'm trying to see what this guy is saying. It looks like maybe, okay, it's from the same group. I'm just trying to see where he addresses the actual demonic portal in and of itself.
I don't know, but I hear in my background picture here is one of the entities that actually came through.
Some call him Tim.
Him the Enchanter.
Meantime, let's hear about this mystical book of maps called an atlas.
I too have heard of these great books called atlases. These books contained all of the knowledge. Only those of the divine inspiration were able to read them, because with the atlas you can get anywhere. They contained many, many maps, if you will. Layers upon layers, pages. Infinite numbers of maps could be contained in one atlas. It was incredible. I even remember the day that my father bestowed upon me the privilege of managing the atlas. He screamed profanities at me as he told me to get us to where we needed to go, but I could not understand the atlas, for it was too cumbersome. Alas, we pulled our carriage off to the side of the road, and he took hold of the atlas and showed me the way. It was a great day.
So check it. Okay, here's this person's being a little more direct about it. This is from something called dailyveracity.com. The name Cern is believed to derive from the Celtic pagan god Cernunnos. The Celtic root of Cernunnos is believed to translate to the horned ones, or in modern neo-paganism beliefs, Cernunnos represents Wiccan gods. Similarly, displayed on location just outside of the main building at the Cern facilities in Switzerland is a permanent installation of the pagan god Shiva, a Hindu god. Shiva is known as the destroyers of worlds, because if you remember Robert Oppenheimer, he talked about this. And he also said, I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. And I guess the first time this theory came about was 2016. A video emerged of what appears to be a satanic occult sacrifice in front of the statue of Shiva on the grounds of the Cern facility. Obviously it was deemed to be a quote unquote prank by scientists affiliated with Cern. Strangely enough, Cern has an entire art department where liberal artists from around the world converge to create national spectacles, as seen during the opening ceremony of the Large Hadron Collider, where workers were depicted opening the gate to what is thought to be hell. And he's providing videos apparently from that ceremony from 2012. Scientists with CERN declared their discovery of the Higgs boson particle, more popularly known as the famous God particle. So then it talks about the art department a little more, about theological issues surrounding the project. The question remains, why does a scientific research facility have such a large budget for and focus so much on art performances? That's an interesting question. Every employee at CERN, whether they're a scientist or artist, assumes a nihilistic worldview, ultimately conforming to the idea that human beings are in total control of the universe. We were kind of talking about this already. The nerds will destroy us all, right?
Yep.
One pair of scientists working at CERN have dedicated their lives to measuring the color of the sky and calculating the human impact on its hue. In the Middle Ages, we believed in a place of God in heaven. Today, we have to admit we have a part in shaping the sky. Like all the changes occurring because of climate change, it scares us. At the same time, we have no choice but to take responsibility for what we do. So they measure the sky and follow the changing hue. So, the point of all this is, relating to the portal, is that many scientists at CERN appear to be concerned with the theological aspects of discovering the God particle than theologians themselves. And so that would also involve apparently this opening portal. Maybe it's a theological, maybe they're performing a religious rite from the sound of it. And it's not just all fun and games. So with that aspect in mind, that CERN scientists are interested in the theological aspects, this is in the context of them restarting operations at maximum capacity on July 5th, 2022. So they're saying there's a theological aspect to their work, maybe kind of like, it almost makes me think of, what do you call it, from Ghostbusters, where the guy, built Dana Barrett's apartment building with certain metals and certain patterns as a religious object.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
Yeah, they said the building was built out of materials to make it basically like a giant spiritual antenna.
They just don't
No,
build
this
them this
stuff's
way
coming.
anymore, do they, Ray? No, they've never built it this way.
Right.
That whole scene is
Request the
hilarious.
tale of
Huh?
That whole scene's hilarious, by the way. Just
request the tale of being the keeper of Father's torch. Let us tell
Keeper
this
of
tale.
Father's torch.
You see, in the days before, Father would not permit anyone to do maintenance on our family carriage. No, he was somewhat of a wizard of himself under the compartment. But this compartment was very dark. No light could penetrate into the compartment. It required a torch. He called it a flashlight, in which he charged me with holding it and guiding him through his processes. And I had a very unsteady hand, and Father would routinely tell me things in profane words, criticizing in my every move. Though I was only trying to be a good squire to him, I failed miserably. I have made sure that I pass this on to my children as well. Those were much harder times.
I love the carriage. That's hilarious. Oh,
He's
man.
like, it was very dark and no light could penetrate.
Did you listen to the one about the metal slides on the playgrounds, Andy?
Oh yeah, I've heard that one. Here we go.
Very adventurer of the commons, sit with me for a moment and let us tell the tale of the metal slide. You see, back in the day, playgrounds were more robust, built and structured to stand the test of time. One of these things was the metal slide. It glistened and shined. It was a beauty. Children were drawn to it, this spectacular vision of light. But yet this metal slide was a double-edged sword, if you will, for in the sunlight, it would turn into the temperature of the sun.
It would turn into
Itself, it could beam, it could blind you. Skin would be burned for children sliding down it. But it did have an advantage, for when it was wet, it was the fastest slide in the world. It would propel children across the entire playground, sometimes causing injuries. Yes, I remember the metal slide well. It was definitely another part of the good times.
Metal slide. Oh man.
You ain't lying either. That metal slide on on those playgrounds was molten lava in the sun.
Oh shoot, yeah.
He's like, in the sunlight, the slide would reach the temperature of the sun.
It would burn your skin as you slid down it.
Drinking from the hose.
Weary traveler of the commons, you've waited so patiently. Here is your tale. You see, in the days before, when we were permitted only to be in the outside, it would be hot, extremely hot on those days. Yes, I remember them well. We had only one way to quench our thirst, and this was the hose. Coiled like a snake, it was venomous, for if you were not patient, the snake would spit fire towards your face, yes. Young ones, they would go quickly, their face would become scalded. But us elder children, we would wait patiently, for once the fire was gone, the snake spit cool water towards our face. And this was the only way, for we were not permitted to go back into the home until mother or father whistled.
For the impatient, it would spit fire at your face.
I really relate to this one because that's what summers were like, when we were kids. Like mom, they would kick us out in the morning. We weren't allowed to come back inside until they came out and said, "You can come back inside."
Yeah, I remember. I remember that as well.
Sometimes that was all day.
All right. Well, here's the newest one. This is the only one I haven't heard yet. Rotary phones.
Yeah, rotary phones. That one was
Traveler
funny.
of Commons, you have come far to hear the story of the rotary phone. Sit now, rest, and I will tell you. See, in the olden days, phones were not as smart as they were today, no. You must dial the individual number. We had rotary phones, phones with holes over the numbers in which you would stick your finger and spin in a clockwise direction. Must be in perfect sequence because any failure would require you to start over. But this phone did have a magic secret. It was the zero, where if you were to dial the zero number, you would reach a person, a magic wizard, the operator, who could connect you to almost anywhere in the universe. Yes, it was very possible.
You would reach a person, a magic wizard.
And all of this was on the rotary phone, a small device that was latched to the table, immovable, tied down by a cord. Yes, these days were different, much different than what they are today. Weary traveler.
Weary traveler, sit down, rest, and I'll tell you the story.
And this phone was lashed down to the table, immovable.
All right, listen though, I need to give credit where credit's due. These videos are on TikTok. The guy who makes them, his handle on TikTok is the Dad Bod Veteran, and
Yeah.
he's obviously hilarious. He's a Navy veteran, like Mr. Benjamin here.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Yeah, he had plenty of the time on aircraft carriers or small boys to come up with all this fun shit.
Right?
In the Navy.
You can
It's
sail
not
the
gay
seven
when
seas.
So, but somehow to tie this all together, maybe he went through a couple portals while on deployment, kind of like the.
Show me you have wandered way off course.
What movie was it where a ship went back in time to like what was it, Battle of Midway or somewhere in 1940s, World War II?
The Eldridge. Philadelphia experiment, the Eldridge.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because they did that experiment back in that time frame, the 50s.
Yeah,
They made a movie about a ship going back in time to
Like in the
before-
80s, and then it went back in time during World War II. I think maybe Midway or Coral Sea or something.
Yeah, I never heard of it. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin to figure out the title of that one.
No problem there, Chester. But no, I mean, he probably went through a few portals and black holes himself then on all those deployments over in Westpacs and traversing the Indian Ocean. But
oh, yeah.
so what do you think? Well, I'm curious what the theory is on like basically doubling what they're doubling the voltage or doubling the energy.
Maybe they'll just make the portal bigger.
Hey, you think if we did like a reverse Guns of the South and use Cern to go back in time and give the Union Army black rifles right before the first battle of Manassas and end the war on the first battle, you think it would work?
I mean, the outcome would still be the same. I mean,
No,
so
that's what I'm saying, but just ended at far less loss of life because it ended at the first battle. You totally wiped out the entire thing of the first battle. You know what I mean?
They came from the future.
That would keep
So terrible.
that would keep the status quo in the country, because at that point there was no Emancipation Proclamation. There was no actual national desire to abolish slavery. Lincoln actually would have been fine for slavery remaining legal until 1900.
Yeah, it'd be like, weary traveler, sit down and I'll tell you a tale. They came.
So yeah, that would have saved tons more lives and far less devastation to the constitutional order, and obviously less destruction across the whole country. So yeah, you could do that.
They came from the future with weapons so terrible. It ended the war in a single night. The first night.
My Guns of the South moment would be to go to like Constantinople though and give them 50 cal mounts. So
Yeah. And give them modern day howitzers in the city.
Oh, it'd be like Burt Gummer's fucking quad 50 he had mounted in the back of his deuce and a half. Remember? Tremors
Yep.
3, where he's like,
Yep.
"No need to fear, mere reporters. For once, I have the proper tool at hand." And he takes the tarp off the fucking quad 50 and he sits in it. He's like, fucking just going off on it. Mows down the entire wave of shriekers.
Hey, that's that's the epitome of the Second Amendment. If I want a quad 50, damn it, I should be allowed to buy a quad 50.
If you can afford it, why not?
I just want the right to own a nuclear weapon.
Well, that's not a gun, but yeah. I'm going by the Second Amendment, and it's talking about firearms. I'm not talking about missiles.
Yeah, no, I don't think your average civilian should be allowed to own a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
There's
You have somebody nuking their neighbor with a suitcase bomb because they,
They keep parking 6 inches over the line.
yeah, they didn't cut their grass down to a level that you liked.
Yeah, your grass is more than 4 inches high. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and nuke you now.
Yeah, we're gonna burn that grass down for you since you can't cut it.
You will sweep away your grass. Like,
Your grass has been swept away by the hand of God, like the Jews of old.
there are so many good repurposes. It's wonderful.
That is a timeless movie.
I love Glory.
Yeah, so I don't know, like 2012 seemed to have been a pivotal year, like for the country, for the world, really. Obama was reelected. December 20, obviously the Mayan long count was misinterpreted, so there obviously was no visible end of the world on December 21st, 2012. However, if this maybe this device helped bring about something pertaining to that.
But it definitely helps explain the Mandela effect. We were all sucked into an alternate dimension, an alternate timeline where the world did not end.
Well, you can go into the Josh on the Red Pill Project's theory about the spaceship theory. That there's a couple 100,000 of us that are just in suspended animation on a spaceship, and the rest of the humans on the planet are basically NPCs, non-player characters.
Yeah, the gray faces.
So we're
it's like you're playing.
Yeah, we're living in Ready Player One.
Yeah, or it's like you're playing. Like I don't know, Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls, and you're in the game, and you have all the, AI characters, but they only know a few lines, and they,
NPCs,
whatever. Yeah. So and they come up with some good examples of that. Like, have you ever watched for instance, you ever watch your neighbors bring in groceries?
Yeah.
Like you've been sitting there and watch, because
I honestly I've never seen my neighbors bring in groceries.
Yeah. So I lived in one house for 5 years, and I had neighbors on all sides of me, and I had seen the neighbors out in their yards and stuff like that, but I had never once seen any one of them, when I thought about it, come back from shopping and bringing groceries in the house. Never once in 5 years. Never happened across it. Never saw it. Ever.
Did you have a regular work hours?
Well, I mean, I was home all day because I worked overnights. So,
okay.
I never saw it. It's weird.
I mean, so there's a window of time with sunlight where you could have reasonably expected maybe someone to come home with a couple bags of groceries from a food mart or a grocery store, and didn't happen.
Yeah, and I'd never seen it. So it's a theory that we're all just kind of uploaded into a simulation, and we're all in suspended animation on a spaceship on its way to some planet that for us to inhabit.
Or maybe we all only exist in God's imagination.
Could
I
be
mean,
that
there-
too.
Maybe this is a dream God is having, and we're just existing inside God's head.
I mean, God's sleepless, so. But I did hear an interesting theory. Obviously, it's from taking a Catholic perspective, but where Earth, our existence here is actually our purgatory. And, basically we're going to be purged of our sins or, find ourselves in hell at the end of it all.
Yep.
After this journey ends. I mean,
Yeah, we all fucked up in a previous life, and we fucked up pretty bad, and we're stuck here until we atone for our sins.
yeah. And that was actually a pretty compelling theory for me. I mean, I guess I don't believe it because, typically purgatory wouldn't, if it is real, which I have doubts about, but it would involve constant purgation to become pure and perfect. So, like, I'm not being tortured on a daily basis. So,
Right. You have to be purified through pain.
so that's not happening on the daily. So, but that was an interesting concept.
Well, I mean, you also, there's all different forms of pain too. There's, emotional, mental, physical. There's all sorts of pain that people go through. And physical pain isn't really the worst one.
That's true.
You know what? I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok recently talking about CERN and how for this experiment they're about to do tomorrow through the 5th, that everybody should refrain from drinking or drugs or anything like that, because those make you more susceptible to possession.
Oh, I'm going to get blistered.
It is true though, because when you're inhibited, like, you're easier to agree to possession than when you're sober and you have a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Especially if this does actually involve opening a demonic portal. That, because I think, just thinking of like, Ghostbusters when the equipment blew up and all those spirits entered New York City.
Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to get white girl wasted on the 4th anyway.
White Claw.
Well, I ain't going as far as White Claw, but
Hard seltzer.
You guys ever heard have you guys ever heard the Art Bell audio recording from that hole in Russia? They dropped a microphone down and they claim it's sounds from hell.
yeah, we played it on the podcast a few weeks ago.
No, I thought that had to do with the I thought that had to do with the ones in the Middle East.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was. But it was
Maybe.
the same. It was the same type of noises, though.
No, it wasn't. It was screams. You could hear women and men screaming.
Okay, well,
But
bring it up.
It was some random fucking hole that they drilled in. I think it was in Russia. It was like 8 miles deep, and they dropped a microphone down it.
No, it's the deepest hole ever drilled by man. Man's never gone deeper.
Yeah, something like that. So, let me see. Art Bell. Hell. Best of Art Bell radio, the radio to hell. And I don't think that's it.
Magma.
Liquid hot magma.
Liquid hot schmegma.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's definitely Coast to Coast AM. You guys ever listen to that radio show, Coast to Coast?
all the time.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you once again good evening, or good morning as the case may be. In my time zone, Halloween continues, and so, of course, Ghost to Ghost continues
Ghost
as
to
well.
Ghost,
Our
amen.
annual trek through the weird, the bizarre, the strange, and the true. Those stories. That's what we tell. It is completely...
This was Halloween night, 1997, by the way.
You are the ones who get to tell the stories. And it generally is all the scary.
What's up, Ben?
I was about to say that sounds like 90s audio quality.
Will be a
Hang on.
continuation
I gotta
of that.
pause it. What'd you say, Ben?
I'm saying that sounds like 90s audio quality from AM radio stations.
Yeah.
I can hear
Very
it.
fine tradition done over many, many years on this program now. East of the Rockies, you're on the air on Ghost to Ghost AM. Hello.
How you doing, Art?
Just fine.
I'm from Gulfport, Florida.
Gulfport, Florida. Okay.
Yeah. All the way across the continent from you.
Yes. It's a little continent, though, now.
Well, that's true, especially nowadays.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you about something that happened in about 1977, 1978.
First person to you?
To me.
Okay.
I don't think
At the
this
time,
is it.
I was working...
No, this isn't it.
Yay.
Circa. Sheet music located here. Please remove spaces. The fuck's that supposed to mean? This is YouTube. UFO expert talk show host. Sounds from Hell official trailer. Fuck you. Art Bell playing the Sounds from Hell. Oh, this might be it.
Now, I've got a clean copy of it now, and I warn you,
Yeah, this is it.
this could scare you. Here's the email. Dear Art Bell, I just recently began listening to your radio show and could not believe it when you talked about the sounds from hell tonight. My uncle had told me this story a couple of years ago, and I didn't believe him. Like one of your listeners who discounted the story as nothing more than just a religious newspaper fabricated account. The story about the digging of the hole and the hearing of the sounds from hell is very real. It did occur in Siberia. My uncle collected videos and audio tapes and so forth on the paranormal, supernatural. He passed away fairly recently, but he would have loved your show. He let me listen to one of the audio tapes that he had on the sounds from hell in Siberia, and I copied it. He received his copy from a friend who worked at the BBC. It took me a while to find it tonight, but attached is that sound from my uncle's tapes. It's not the greatest quality, but the sounds are there. I was very hesitant to send you this, as the sound bothers me to listen to. I'd suggest that if you do play it on the program, warn listeners in advance so they may have the option of turning the radio off for 30 seconds while it plays. It has always haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from Hell story, it is true, and I, for one, wish it wasn't. Rick, listening from Chicago. And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Sounds like a crowded subway station.
It just sounds like an average day in Chicago.
Right?
Yeah, you can distinctly hear a female screaming.
Yep. But supposedly, this audio was taken from a hole in the ground that was dug in Siberia.
Yeah, like 8 miles deep or something. Crazy.
I mean, technically, you know, they could have pieced that. They probably pieced that together. But I mean, realistically, that's what hell probably does sound like. Like that's probably an accurate reflection of what it does sound.
If there's any sound at all. You know what my hell would be? Total darkness and total silence.
Yeah, but still being conscious and aware.
Exactly.
But there's absolutely nothing. No sound, no light, nothing.
Like complete sensory deprivation. That would be my hell.
Yeah, maybe everybody's hell is going to be different if they end up going there. Like for some, it might be torture. For some, it might be silence, like you're saying. So
Yeah. I mean, if there is a hell, I would imagine that's probably what it sounds like. I would imagine it. But
there's a wailing and a gnashing of teeth.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it on this, I believe on this show before. I don't believe hell is a thing. I think, like there's a verse in the Bible that says, basically the wages of sin is death. But how do you define death? Death is you cease to exist, correct? You don't, whatever, you don't get to exist anymore. So, yeah. So I mean, I don't think hell's a thing. Either you're good, repentant, you believe in Jesus and whatever, you go to heaven, or you cease to exist.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. I think that I don't believe in hell as a place. I think hell may be subjective, and based on the kind of life you lived, you enter into your own personal hell, basically. That's a good possibility. But
anyway,
hell as a actual place that you go and there'll be other people there. I don't see. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, in kind of in closing, a little bit, we've been wrong, or I've been wrong on this show a lot. We talked about the alien invasion that was supposed, or first contact that was supposed to be made, like what, a month ago, 2 months, whatever it was.
Like June 1st or 2nd or something.
Yeah, the time traveler episode. Yeah, that didn't happen. And whatever. So
well, we didn't say it would. We were laughing and joking about it. We're like, yeah, this time traveler says that neurons are coming to invade. Well, neurons are coming, and the United States is going to attack them and start a interdimensional war.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between talking and joking about it and then like saying, we say that this will happen on this date and time. Like that's a difference.
Well, yeah. But anyway. So predictions. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow, between tomorrow and the 5th? You think they're going to blow up Cern?
I mean, I personally don't know. I mean, like, I am concerned with the moral fiber of these people who are conducting these super powerful experiments. So, and frankly, I don't know what their intentions are. Maybe
They're
it
doing
really
the cardinal sin on Ghostbusters. Don't cross the streams.
is. Yeah, but they actually did cross the streams at the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
in the end, yeah.
So maybe that's what these jerks are doing now. They're crossing the streams to close this alleged portal.
Or when you got a bunch of kids standing in a circle pissing in the middle, don't cross the screen, don't cross the streams.
Yeah, what did he say would happen when he asked what would happen if he crossed the streams? It was something like, imagine every particle in your body exploding at the speed of light or something like that. Like, I can't remember. He's like, oh, that would be bad. Yeah.
Crossing the streams would be bad. Okay.
Hey, I've only known these guys for a couple of months. Since I've been with them, I've seen shit that'll turn a black man white.
I've seen shit that would turn you white. He said it to a white mare.
The original quote was, I've seen shit that'll turn a black man white.
Yeah, but I haven't seen a version of the movie that says that.
Yeah, that's probably eradicated.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, that version's probably eradicated now.
Yep.
Or it's the Mandela effect and it never existed at all.
But me and Ronnie both remember it distinctly.
Oh, I remember it distinctly. When I was a kid, it was, I've seen shit that will turn a black man white.
I remember it because I used to laugh my ass off at it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I always thought it was funny just the other one way, too, because he's saying this to a white mare like he's already white. What do you mean turn him white?
Yep. Anyway, that might be a unacknowledged Mandela effect from the previous CERN experiment. Imagine how crazy our world's going to be with Mandela effect if this experiment goes through the way I think it will.
What are you doing in my country? You filthy piece of dirt. Stop eating my sesame cake.
Zeki, stop eating my sesame cake. Stop eating my sesame cake. He's like, what? Spits it out.
What are you doing with this guy? This man knows money to everybody everywhere he goes.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because like when they first come in, he's all, have some coffee and cake, and they all just look at him. Have some.
So final thoughts?
Oh man. Final thoughts. CERN just cease and desist. God damn it.
Yeah. Stop being the crazy nerds that are going to kill us all.
Stop tempting the fates.
You are playing with powers you do not understand. And I'm not trying to say that I understand them either, but that's even more argument for me to say you probably shouldn't be playing with this shit.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Yep.
What about you, Ben? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I already shared mine. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. So you can find us. What, Ronnie?
I was just going to leave with one final thought to also stop turning the frogs gay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Who's this person who speaks to me as though I needed his advice?
All right. So
do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Yeah. Anyway, you can find us on Instagram, SBB Pod. You can hit us up on the DMs. Email is supernaturalbeerbros@gmail.com. And yeah, I believe that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's not one of our most lively episodes, but
and don't be a be a doobie.
Yeah, be a doobie. Yeah. So Ben, Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. We are signing out.